Have you ever felt like you're constantly giving your time, your energy, your attention, and yet somehow it's never enough? Are you exhausted from pouring yourself into people and situations that don't seem to appreciate it? It's time to face the hard truth. Giving too much, especially when it's not reciprocated, can leave you drained, disrespected, and stuck in a cycle of frustration. Today, I want to help you break free from that cycle. I'll show you how to protect your energy, set the right boundaries, and stop giving away pieces of yourself to those who won't give back. This is about more than just self-care. It's about learning to respect yourself enough to stop allowing others to take advantage of your generosity. By the end of this, you'll have the tools to stop feeling depleted, to regain control over your energy, and to start commanding the respect you truly deserve. So if you're ready to stop being drained and start living on your own terms, stay with me, because what I'm about to share could change everything. It might sound harsh, but the truth is this: when you give too much to others, especially without boundaries, you risk setting yourself up for disrespect. It's human nature. People tend to take advantage when they know they can. Imagine a sponge. When you keep soaking it with water and never give it a chance to release, eventually it stops soaking up anything at all. That's how you become when you keep giving without receiving in return. You become drained, empty, and eventually people stop valuing what you bring because they've learned to expect it. What does this look like in real life? Maybe it's always being the one to support a friend, but when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. Or constantly being the one to pick up the slack at work without acknowledgement. Over time, this pattern erodes your sense of self-worth. It's not just exhausting, it's disheartening. People begin to take you for granted, and your generosity starts to feel less like a gift and more like an obligation. You deserve better than this. Why do we overgive in the first place? It's often tied to our desire for approval, acceptance, or to avoid conflict. We've been conditioned to believe that love and respect are earned through constant giving. But here's the truth: the more you give without receiving, the more you reinforce the idea that you don't value your own time or energy enough to demand a return. The more you give, the more people expect it, and they start to take it for granted. You might be asking, why does it backfire? Well, it's simple. Overgiving leads to emotional burnout and resentment. You give with the expectation that others will appreciate your efforts, but when they don't, the disappointment starts to chip away at your mental well-being. The longer you allow this to happen, the more difficult it becomes to break the cycle. It becomes a toxic pattern where your needs are always secondary to everyone else's, and eventually you feel invisible, ignored, and emotionally exhausted. But the truth is, when you give too much, you're teaching people to disregard your worth. You're sending a message, whether you mean to or not, that your needs aren't as important as theirs. Over time, this leads to disrespect. People don't learn to value you, they learn to take from you. We've all heard that giving is good, but here's the thing: like everything else, there's a limit. The more you give without setting boundaries, the less effective your giving becomes. This is known as the law of diminishing returns. When you're constantly offering more of yourself, you may feel like you're helping others, but in reality, you're giving away pieces of yourself that you can never get back. Over time, your energy, enthusiasm, and self-worth start to diminish. It's like a battery that can't recharge. It eventually runs out. Think about it: when you give all the time, you exhaust yourself physically and emotionally. The result? You're not able to give your best anymore. In fact, you might even start resenting the very people you're trying to help. When your giving becomes one-sided, it stops being a healthy, productive act and turns into a sacrifice that leaves you worse off. Here's the reality: giving too much doesn't make you more valuable. In fact, it can make you less effective, less appreciated, and more likely to be overlooked. The more you give, the more you deplete your own resources. And as you lose yourself in the process, the people who benefit from your giving may not even notice the toll it's taking on you. Gotta ask yourself this: are you really being appreciated for what you give, or are you just being used? The difference might not always be obvious, but it's there. Appreciation is mutual. It's a balance. When you give, you should feel valued in return, whether it's through respect, recognition, or simply the knowledge that your efforts are being acknowledged. If you constantly find yourself giving without any form of appreciation, it's time to evaluate the situation. It's easy to tell yourself that you're just being a good person, or that it's part of your responsibility. But in reality, this can be a sign that you're being taken advantage of. People will continue to take as long as you let them. Here's the tough truth: if you don't demand respect, others won't give it to you. If you don't set boundaries, people will keep crossing them. And if you don't stop giving without receiving, you'll continue to feel drained and disrespected. You don't deserve that. It's time to ask yourself, are you being appreciated, or are you just being used? The answer will show you exactly what needs to change. Have you ever felt like you're giving and still not getting the respect you deserve? You bend over backward for others, you give your time, energy, and even your peace of mind, yet it never feels like enough. It's frustrating, isn't it? But here's the hard truth: when you overgive, you're not just giving, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, burnout, and even disrespect. Today, I'm going to show you why this happens, how it affects your well-being, and most importantly, how you can break free from this cycle. The reality is this: when you give too much, you lose yourself. You sacrifice your needs and boundaries just to keep everyone around you happy, and that comes at a high price. In this speech, we'll uncover the hidden costs of overextending yourself and explore how it impacts your relationships, self-worth, and personal growth. But don't worry, this isn't just about identifying the problem. I'll also guide you through actionable steps to regain your power, protect your energy, and start demanding the respect you deserve. Stick with me, because this is where the real change begins. Have you ever given so much of yourself to someone, only to feel more like a tool than a friend? It's a painful realization, but it's true. The more you give, the less people often appreciate it. When you continuously pour your time, effort, and energy into others without expecting anything in return, you're not just being generous, you're inviting people to take you for granted. Here's why: the more you give, the more people will expect it. You become the one who's always available, always ready to sacrifice for others, and eventually, people stop seeing your worth because they don't have to. It's like giving someone $1 every day. At first it's appreciated, but over time they start to expect it, and they don't even thank you anymore. Giving without boundaries isn't generosity, it's a recipe for disrespect. Let me tell you something: giving without limits doesn't make you more valuable, it diminishes your worth. This is known as the law of diminishing returns. The more you give, the less effective your giving becomes. Think about it: the first time you offer something, it feels powerful and appreciated. But as you continue to give, that appreciation fades. The very people you're trying to help begin to take it for granted. You start to feel drained, unnoticed, and unappreciated. It's simple: when you give too much, you lose the ability to give effectively, because there's nothing left for yourself. Imagine trying to pour from an empty cup. You can't. The more you sacrifice, the less you have to offer. And soon, your value in the eyes of others starts to shrink. More isn't always better, and excessive giving doesn't raise your status, it weakens it. Here's a question for you: are you a giver or are you a doormat? It's a tough question, but one that needs to be asked. Givers do so out of love and generosity, but doormats allow people to walk all over them. You see, giving is about balance. It's about offering when you can, but also knowing when to say no. A doormat, however, allows others to take advantage of them, saying yes to everything at their own expense. Do you recognize the difference in your life? Do you give so much because you feel obligated, not because you truly want to? If you constantly give without taking care of your own needs, you're at risk of becoming a doormat. And let me tell you, being a doormat doesn't lead to respect. It leads to people walking all over you, leaving you feeling unseen and unheard. It's time to stop letting others define your worth. You might think that giving more makes your relationship stronger, but in reality, it can hurt them. When you give too much, you rob others of the opportunity to step up, and you set yourself up for emotional exhaustion. Healthy relationships are based on reciprocity. Both people should give and take in balance, but if you're always the one giving, you'll start to resent the very people you're trying to help. This resentment builds over time and erodes your connection. In terms of personal growth, overgiving also stunts your development. When you pour all your energy into others, you neglect your own goals, dreams, and well-being. You lose sight of your own aspirations, and instead of growing, you become stagnant. So let me ask you, what's more important, constantly giving to others or taking care of your own life and growth? If you keep giving without receiving, you'll keep losing yourself in the process. Have you ever felt completely drained, like you've given every last ounce of yourself, only to feel empty at the end of the day? You pour your time, energy, and heart into others, but it never seems like enough. And yet you keep giving. Why? Because you believe that by doing so, you'll gain love, respect, or appreciation. But the truth is, overgiving can leave you emotionally exhausted, mentally drained, and resentful. It can rob you of your own identity, your self-respect, and your peace of mind. Today, I'm going to show you how overgiving takes its toll and why you need to stop this cycle before it destroys your well-being. You might not realize it yet, but each time you sacrifice yourself for others, you're paying a hidden price, one that affects your mental health, your happiness, and even your relationships. But don't worry, I'm here to guide you through how to recognize the warning signs and take back control. The time to stop overgiving is now. Stay with me, because this is where real change begins. Let me ask you something: have you ever given so much to someone that by the end of it you feel completely drained? Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally exhausted? That's the invisible toll of overgiving. You might think you're helping others, but what's really happening is you're slowly draining yourself. It's like constantly giving from a well that never refills. When you give without boundaries, you end up with nothing left for yourself. And that emptiness you feel, it's not just a momentary fatigue, it's a warning. You're burning yourself out by overextending, and that kind of drain doesn't just go away, it stays with you, building over time until you feel like you have nothing left to offer, even to yourself. When your energy is constantly being taken, you become a shell of who you used to be. That's not a life worth living. Overgiving isn't just tiring, it's emotionally exhausting. When you give too much, your emotional reserves run low and you become numb. You start to feel disconnected from your own needs, your own feelings, and your own desires. You can no longer find joy in the things you used to love because you've given so much of yourself to others. Your mind is constantly focused on what others need from you, leaving little space for your own aspirations. This emotional exhaustion chips away at your ability to thrive. How can you expect to grow when all your energy is going into everyone else's growth? Over time, you stop thriving, you just survive. You're caught in a cycle of giving and giving but never receiving what you need to replenish. It's not sustainable, it's a silent killer of your dreams, your passions, and your happiness. When you keep giving without replenishing yourself, you eventually reach burnout. And when you reach burnout, you're no good to anyone, not to your loved ones, not to your work, and certainly not to yourself. Burnout doesn't just make you tired. It leaves you incapable of doing anything. You can't think clearly, you can't focus, and you can't be the best version of yourself. Burnout takes away your energy, your creativity, and your drive. You're left with nothing to give, but you keep giving anyway because you feel obligated. But here's the truth, when you're running on empty, the quality of what you give diminishes. Instead of being present and passionate, you become resentful and distant, you lose your spark, and your relationships suffer. Burnout doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you. If you keep going like this, it will only get worse. The solution? Stop before you reach that point. Here's the harsh reality, when you overgive, you're often sacrificing your mental health for people who might not even notice. They might not see how much you're suffering or how hard you're trying to be everything to everyone. And even if they do see it, they might not appreciate it the way you think they should. You might be giving your time, your emotions, your energy, and for what? So others can feel happy, but you end up feeling empty and unappreciated. Is it really worth it? Let me ask you, are you sacrificing your mental peace for people who don't notice the cost you're paying? If you continue to put others before yourself, you'll find that your mental health erodes, leaving you with nothing but frustration and resentment. It's time to start valuing yourself enough to say, I can't keep giving like this. I need to take care of myself too. Have you ever felt disrespected or taken advantage of because you couldn't say no? Maybe you've given more than you should have or allowed someone to push your limits. And now you're frustrated and resentful, wishing you had stood your ground. It's time to stop letting others dictate your boundaries. It's time to reclaim your power and protect your well-being. In today's speech, we're diving into a powerful and practical concept that will change the way you navigate relationships and interactions: boundaries. Boundaries aren't about being selfish or shutting people out. They're about protecting your energy, preserving your respect, and ensuring you can give from a place of abundance, not depletion. Boundaries allow you to maintain your self-respect and teach others how to treat you with the dignity you deserve. Today, I'm going to show you how to set clear, strong boundaries that will give you the respect you've been craving and help you build healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Let's start now, because this shift will change everything for you. Boundaries are the silent protectors of your well-being. They are the line between what you're willing to accept and what you won't tolerate. Without boundaries, you're giving others the power to dictate how you feel, how much you give, and how much of yourself you lose. Respect starts with you, and it starts with defining where you stand. You can't expect others to respect you if you don't first respect your own limits. Think of boundaries like the walls around a house. They don't keep people out, they just define the space. Inside your boundaries is your peace, your energy, and your personal power. Outside those boundaries are demands, expectations, and the potential for harm. When you establish boundaries, you're setting up a space where you're free to thrive, where you're free to be yourself without fear of being drained or manipulated. The better your boundaries, the stronger your respect for yourself, and the more respect you'll get from others. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and trust. But without boundaries, these values can easily be undermined. Boundaries are essential because they let people know what is acceptable and what isn't. They create clarity and reduce the potential for misunderstanding or resentment. Think about a time when someone crossed a line. Maybe they overstepped at work, at home, or in a friendship. How did it make you feel? Chances are it felt like a breach of trust, a violation of your space. Without clear boundaries, these violations happen regularly. People will take more than they should, and you'll give more than you have. Eventually, you'll feel drained, frustrated, and disrespected. But when you have boundaries, relationships become healthier. You communicate what you need, and you also create a space where others feel comfortable doing the same. Healthy boundaries ensure that no one takes more than their share and that you're not left carrying the burden of unspoken expectations. Boundaries encourage mutual respect and ensure that both parties thrive. Let's get real for a moment. Are you letting others cross the line without any consequences? Think about it. When you say yes to everything, when you allow people to walk all over you or push your limits, you're teaching them that it's okay. You're teaching them that your time, your energy, and your boundaries are up for grabs. And when you do that, you're also teaching them that your well-being doesn't matter. Here's the thing. When you don't set consequences for boundary violations, you become invisible. Your needs don't matter, your limits aren't respected. And over time, this can build resentment. You might feel unheard, overlooked, or completely drained. This doesn't have to be your reality. Boundaries aren't about punishing people, they're about protecting yourself and teaching others how to treat you. If you don't set consequences, things won't change. People will continue to take without giving. But when you say no or establish clear lines, you'll find that respect follows. People will start to see you differently. They'll respect you more. And the best part, you'll respect yourself more too. Don't let anyone cross your line without consequences. The choice is yours. Boundaries create balance in your life. They give you the space to grow, to thrive, and to maintain your well-being. Without boundaries, life feels chaotic, unbalanced, and overwhelming. You're constantly pulled in every direction, unable to focus on what really matters. But when you set clear boundaries, you're taking control of your life. You're saying, this is what I'm willing to give, and this is where I draw the line. This balance doesn't just protect you, it also fosters trust. When people know where you stand, they know how to interact with you. There's no guessing, no misunderstandings. Boundaries bring clarity, and clarity builds trust. Think about it. When someone respects your boundaries, it shows they value you. They see your worth. And when you respect others' boundaries, you're giving them the same gift. You're saying, I see you, I respect you, I trust you. By setting boundaries, you're creating a space where both parties feel safe, heard, and understood. This is how healthy, trusting relationships are built. Boundaries don't just protect you, they protect the relationship, allowing it to grow stronger and more respectful. When you establish boundaries, you're giving yourself and others the freedom to live authentically and to connect meaningfully. Have you ever felt overlooked or taken for granted, like your value wasn't recognized by those around you? Maybe you found yourself giving more than you receive, or letting others treat you in ways that don't reflect your worth. It's frustrating, isn't it? But here's the truth. Everything starts with you. The way others treat you is often a reflection of how you treat yourself. If you're ready to stop feeling disrespected, undervalued, or invisible, then it's time to focus on one powerful shift: the way you respect yourself. In today's speech, I'm going to show you why self-respect is not just a nice to have, but the foundation for everything you want to achieve in life. Whether it's success, love, or inner peace, it all starts with respecting yourself first. When you do this, you'll see how it impacts your relationships, your confidence, and your overall well-being. This isn't just about self-love or affirmation. It's about taking control and setting a standard for how you're treated. Let's get started, because the power to change your life is in your hands, and it begins with self-respect. Self-respect is not about being perfect or having an inflated sense of self. It's about honoring your own needs, your values, and your worth. It's about standing firm in who you are, regardless of external pressures or the opinions of others. When you respect yourself, you acknowledge your rights to set boundaries, express your feelings, and pursue your goals without apology. Respecting yourself means making decisions that align with your well-being, your dreams, and your happiness. It means refusing to settle for less than you deserve. And it also means holding yourself accountable to your own standards. Self-respect is the foundation upon which your confidence and sense of self-worth are built. Without it, you will constantly find yourself seeking approval or bending to the will of others. True self-respect doesn't rely on external validation. It comes from within. Self-respect is the cornerstone of success. Without it, everything else in your life, whether it's your career, relationships, or personal growth, will be compromised. Why? Because if you don't believe you deserve success, you won't take the necessary steps to achieve it. If you don't value your time, your energy, and your efforts, others won't either. Think about the most successful people you admire. They respect themselves, they stand firm in their beliefs, and they don't let others dictate their worth. They know their value, and because of that, they attract opportunities, build strong relationships, and stay grounded during challenges. Self-respect is what drives you to work hard for your goals, to set boundaries that protect your peace, and to demand the respect you deserve from others. Without it, you'll find yourself stuck in cycles of self-doubt, or worse, allowing others to take advantage of your time, energy, and talent. When you respect yourself, your perspective shifts. You stop viewing yourself as someone who needs to prove their worth, and instead see yourself as someone deserving of respect, love, and success. You're no longer seeking validation from others, because you already recognize your own value. Self-respect also changes the way you see others. When you have a strong sense of self-worth, you're less likely to tolerate negative behavior or toxic relationships. You'll no longer settle for people who don't treat you well, and you'll start attracting healthier, more respectful connections. Self-respect enables you to see others through a clearer lens, one where mutual respect is key. When you respect yourself, you create a ripple effect, showing others how to treat you and setting the standard for how relationships should be built. Think about it, can you truly find happiness if you don't respect yourself? Can you feel content if you're constantly bending over backward for others, sacrificing your needs, or allowing others to walk all over you? The truth is, without self-respect, happiness becomes elusive. You may chase success, love, or validation, but without the foundation of self-respect, you'll find that they don't bring the lasting fulfillment you desire. True happiness comes from within, and it starts with respecting yourself first. If you can't honor your own needs, how can you expect others to honor them? Have you ever found yourself giving and giving, but never feeling like you're truly receiving in return? Maybe you've given your time, your energy, or even your love, only to feel drained, unappreciated, or taken for granted. It's frustrating, isn't it? Relationships should be a two-way street, but too often they become one-sided, leaving you feeling exhausted and empty. The truth is, giving without receiving isn't sustainable. Reciprocity is the foundation of every healthy relationship, whether it's with family, friends, or romantic partners. When both sides give, a powerful sense of balance and respect is created. Without it, resentment builds, and relationships begin to erode. Today, I'm going to challenge the way you think about relationships. We'll explore why mutual giving is the key to respect, how to recognize when you're giving more than you're receiving, and why you deserve to receive as much as you give. By the end of this, you'll have a clearer understanding of how to build stronger, more balanced relationships that truly nourish you. Stay with me because this shift in perspective could change everything for you. Respect is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. But respect doesn't come from just one person offering it. It's earned through mutual giving. When you give in a relationship, whether it's your time, your emotions, or your efforts, you're not just offering something, you're demonstrating that you value the other person. But respect doesn't stop there. The other person must also give, recognizing your worth and honoring your contributions. Mutual giving is the bedrock of respect. It's about two people choosing to show up for each other, to give and receive in equal measure. If only one person is doing all the giving, it creates a power imbalance. One person starts to feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and unappreciated. The other person may feel entitled, thinking that their needs are more important. This dynamic erodes respect, turning a once healthy relationship into something lopsided and unhealthy. Reciprocity is what makes relationships thrive. It's the give and take that creates balance. Think of it like a dance, each person taking turns leading, supporting, and following. When one person gives too much, the balance is disrupted and the relationship becomes strained. In a healthy, balanced relationship, both people are willing to support and nurture each other. This mutual effort creates trust. When you feel like you can depend on the other person to meet your needs just as much as they depend on you, a sense of safety is built. Both sides feel valued and respected. This balance allows for growth, both as individuals and as partners. Mutual giving fosters emotional connection, strengthens bonds, and builds trust. It encourages people to be vulnerable, to open up, and to share authentically. Without reciprocity, relationships fall into patterns of resentment and dissatisfaction. But with it, you create a foundation that can withstand challenges and deepen over time. When giving isn't balanced, it can create a dangerous cycle. At first, you might not even notice. You might think, I'm happy to give, I care about them. But over time, something starts to shift. You find yourself giving more and more while receiving less and less. Your needs go unmet, your energy is drained, and eventually frustration and resentment creep in. This is where the imbalance becomes toxic. One-sided giving often leads to burnout. It's like trying to fill a bucket with no bottom. No matter how much you give, it never feels full, and eventually you have nothing left to give. That's when self-doubt begins to take root. You start to question your worth. Why am I always the one giving? Why doesn't anyone notice what I'm doing? This imbalance doesn't just hurt you, it hurts the relationship too. The person you're giving to may never learn how to contribute or meet you halfway. In the long run, one-sided relationships are doomed to fail. Respect and connection are lost, replaced by feelings of frustration, bitterness, and exhaustion. Ask yourself, is your giving building respect, or is it just draining you? Are you giving to others because you genuinely want to, or because you feel like you have to? Giving should be an act of love and respect, not an obligation. If you feel like you're giving without receiving, it's time to step back and evaluate the relationship. True respect comes when both parties are willing to invest. If you're the only one giving, you might be unintentionally teaching others that they don't need to reciprocate. And that's not how healthy, balanced relationships are built. Have you ever felt like you're constantly giving, constantly caring, yet never feeling fully seen or appreciated? It's draining, isn't it? You're not just tired, you're exhausted, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. The cycle of overgiving without taking time to protect your own energy can leave you feeling invisible. But what if you could finally break that cycle today? What if today was the day you started to reclaim your strength and confidence? In this speech, we're diving into how to build the inner strength you need to protect your energy, set boundaries, and stop feeling guilty for putting yourself first. We'll explore powerful, actionable steps that will help you cultivate emotional resilience, strengthen your confidence, and stand firm in your decisions. You don't have to keep sacrificing yourself for others, because you deserve better. This isn't just about feeling good for a moment. It's about creating lasting change that transforms your life. Are you ready to build the strength that will empower you to protect your time, your peace, and your well-being? Let's take that first step together and watch your life shift toward a place where you're thriving, not just surviving. Inner strength isn't something that comes overnight. It's built piece by piece through every challenge you face. But the foundation of that strength, emotional and mental resilience. You see, resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to face difficulties without losing your core self. It's the muscle that helps you stay firm when life tries to knock you down. Building emotional resilience is about knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you have the power to handle it. You don't bend or break. Instead, you learn from your experiences and grow stronger. And the more resilient you become, the easier it is to set and defend your boundaries. Because you're not just reacting, you're responding with the strength of someone who knows their worth, someone who won't allow anyone to take advantage of them. The stronger your resilience, the clearer your boundaries become. And once you have that strength, you can face any challenge with confidence. You won't allow others to cross your lines. You'll stand firm in what you've worked so hard to build. Self-discipline is one of the cornerstones of inner strength. It's what keeps you from falling back into old patterns, those old habits of overgiving, neglecting your needs, or letting others walk all over you. Here's the truth: if you don't have the discipline to protect your boundaries, you'll quickly slide back into behaviors that drain you. It's not about being perfect, but about consistently making the choice to protect your peace and your well-being. Self-discipline is the practice of choosing your own priorities over the demands of others. When you choose to say no when necessary, it's not an act of cruelty, it's an act of self-respect. You're teaching yourself that your time and energy are valuable. The more disciplined you are with your choices, the more you reinforce the strength you're building. Every time you make a decision that aligns with your well-being, you reinforce your power. And the more consistent you are, the less likely you'll fall back into the cycle of giving without receiving. Self-discipline is a powerful tool that keeps your boundaries strong, even when the temptation to abandon them comes knocking. Self-awareness is the key to breaking free from the cycle of overgiving. When you become self-aware, you start recognizing when you're giving too much and neglecting yourself in the process. You start to see the patterns, the moments when you're saying yes out of obligation, not desire. You notice when you're sacrificing your needs just to please others or avoid conflict. But awareness alone isn't enough. You have to take action on what you notice. When you recognize that you're slipping into old habits of overgiving, you can step back and assess. Are you giving out of guilt, out of fear, out of a sense of duty? The moment you become aware of these emotions, you can consciously choose to stop them from driving your actions. Self-awareness also helps you recognize your own value. The more you know yourself, the more you understand your needs, your desires, and your limits, the easier it becomes to stand up for yourself. Awareness isn't just about seeing your actions, it's about taking responsibility for them. When you know your worth, you can't help but protect it. Building resilience strengthens your ability to stick to your decisions, even when the pressure to overgive is overwhelming. When you know you can handle whatever life throws at you, you stand firm in your choices. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from hardship, it's about the determination to hold your ground no matter what. The more resilient you become, the more easily you'll be able to say no without guilt and yes to what truly aligns with your values. Resilience gives you the courage to protect your boundaries no matter the cost. Have you ever found yourself trapped in situations or relationships that leave you feeling drained, disrespected, or undervalued? The truth is, saying no can feel like an impossible task, especially when we've been conditioned to please others. But what if this one word, no, could be the key to unlocking your personal power and self-respect? Today, we're diving deep into the transformative power of setting boundaries, walking away when necessary, and finally prioritizing yourself. It's time to stop giving in to guilt and start embracing the strength that comes from standing firm in your decisions. What you're about to learn isn't just about learning to say no, it's about understanding why it's essential for your well-being and how it can lead to greater respect from others. This isn't about being selfish, it's about recognizing your worth and taking control of your life. Saying no isn't a rejection of others, it's a statement of self-respect. Walking away from situations or relationships that drain you isn't cowardice, it's courage. Stick with me, because what you're about to discover could change how you approach every relationship and situation moving forward. Let me tell you something, no is not a word of weakness, it's a word of power. Think about it. Every time you say no, you are choosing yourself. You are taking back control over your time, your energy, and your life. So often we think that saying yes to others means we're being kind or helpful, but the truth is, saying yes to everything and everyone leaves you with nothing for yourself. The moment you learn to say no, you are taking ownership of your life. You are sending a message that your time, your peace, and your energy matter, It's empowering because you're no longer at the mercy of other people's demands, you're in the driver's seat of your own life. And let's be clear, this is not about being rude or selfish. It's about being self-aware enough to protect what matters most, your well-being. Saying no is one of the most liberating actions you can take. It's a declaration that you are worthy of respect and you will not settle for anything less. When you say no, you are showing yourself the respect you deserve. Think about it, when you say yes to everything, you're not respecting your own boundaries or your time. But when you say no, you're standing firm in your values, your needs, and your priorities. It's not about rejecting the other person, it's about affirming your own worth. And here's the beautiful thing, when you start saying no, others begin to respect you more. They may not understand at first, but over time they will. When people see you standing strong in your decisions, they take notice. They'll start to recognize that you won't be pushed around. They'll know that your time and energy are not unlimited, and that you have a standard. By saying no, you are training others to respect your boundaries. You're sending a clear message: I know what I want and I won't compromise my values to please you. And that respect, it will come back to you in ways you can't even imagine. Saying no is a direct reflection of your self-worth. It's you telling yourself, I matter. Every time you say no, you're reminding yourself that your needs, your peace, and your well-being come first. When you don't set boundaries, when you constantly overextend yourself, you're telling the world that you don't value yourself enough to protect your own time and energy. But when you say no, you are making it clear that you do. You're not just protecting your time, you're protecting your sense of self. Saying no is the ultimate act of self-respect, and it elevates your self-worth to new heights. The power of saying no lies in the freedom it brings. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your values or needs, you're saying yes to something better. You're freeing yourself from obligations that drain you and making space for things that truly bring you joy and fulfillment. It's in those moments of saying no that you begin to reclaim control over your life. No longer are you a passive player in your own story, you're the author writing your own narrative. Saying no is a declaration of independence, a powerful tool that puts you in charge of your own destiny. Are you tired of feeling invisible, always giving more than you're getting, and never being truly appreciated? What if today could be the day you finally take a stand and reclaim control over your life, your time, and your energy? It's time to stop letting others dictate how much of yourself you give and start setting clear boundaries that will transform the way you live. This isn't just about self-care, it's about recognizing your value and demanding the respect you deserve. The decisions you make today will determine the level of respect, energy, and peace you experience moving forward. In this guide, we've explored powerful strategies to help you say no without guilt, walk away from toxic situations, and build the inner strength to protect your well-being. It hasn't been an easy path, but now you're equipped with the tools to take control. It's time to stop compromising your peace. It's time to start choosing you. The journey isn't over, it's just begun. Stay with me, because what you're about to do could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Here's the truth. You hold the key to your freedom. You control your time, your energy, and your self-respect. It doesn't matter what the world expects from you. It doesn't matter what others demand of you. The only thing that truly matters is what you decide to give and what you choose to protect. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to reclaim it all. No one can take that power from you unless you let them. Take a deep breath and feel that strength. It's in you. The hard truth is this: you are the only one who can change your situation. No one can do it for you. You're waiting for someone else to see your worth, to give you permission to stand up for yourself. But that will never come. The change starts with you. It starts with you choosing to set boundaries, to say no, to demand respect. It starts with you looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you are worthy of better. The moment you decide that your time and energy are too valuable to waste, that's the moment your life will begin to shift. Taking responsibility for your life means owning your choices. It means accepting that you are the author of your story, not anyone else. Your past doesn't define you, but your decisions today will shape your future. Stop waiting for others to change your circumstances. You have everything you need to build the life you want. It's in your hands right now. Start taking full responsibility for your decisions, your boundaries, and your happiness. Only then will you step into the true power that's been waiting for you all along. The time to choose yourself is now. Stop letting others overstep your boundaries. Stop feeling guilty for prioritizing your peace. Every time you allow someone to push past your limits, you are sending a message that your boundaries don't matter. But I'm here to tell you, your boundaries matter. Your needs matter. Your peace of mind matters. When you stand firm in your decisions, you are saying, I am worthy of respect. I am worthy of my own time and energy. Make today the day you choose yourself. No more compromises. No more guilt. Just you standing strong in your own power. You've spent too long settling for less than you deserve. Stop being a doormat. Stop giving in just to keep the peace. Your worth is non-negotiable. It's time to demand the respect you deserve, not just from others, but from yourself. Stop downplaying your value. When you demand respect from others, you first have to give it to yourself. Stand tall, speak up, be unapologetic about your needs. People will begin to treat you the way you treat yourself. Start believing you deserve the best and the world will follow suit. It's time to stop people pleasing. You've been running around trying to make everyone happy, but at what cost? It's time to make a shift from people pleasing to self-pleasing. Prioritize yourself. Focus on your own happiness and well-being first. When you do this, you will begin to attract healthier relationships, healthier situations, and a deeper sense of peace. Your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. Start living for you, not for the approval of others. This is how you transform your life from the inside out. Waiting for others to change won't change anything. The truth is, the only change you can control is your own. Waiting for the perfect moment, for someone else to take the lead, or for others to start respecting your boundaries is a trap. The moment to act is now. Don't let fear hold you back. You've got the courage inside you to make the change today. You don't need permission. You don't need anyone's approval. You need to believe in yourself and take that first step toward the life you deserve. You are ready, and now is the time to act. Consistency is key. Once you set your boundaries, you have to stick with them. Don't let others test your limits. Stay firm. Stay consistent and respect yourself enough to maintain those boundaries. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. But don't expect perfection. You will slip up. That's okay. The key is to keep going. Keep saying no when it's necessary. Keep choosing yourself. Over time, you'll begin to see the results. People will start to respect you more. But most importantly, you'll start to respect yourself more. And that, my friend, is the greatest reward. Time is slipping away, and every moment you wait is a moment you'll never get back. Procrastination keeps you stuck. Every time you delay taking action, you are allowing the same old patterns to continue. The clock is ticking. Don't waste another second. You can sit and hope for change, or you can start making it happen. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. But don't let that scare you. Use it as fuel. The truth is, the only time you truly have is now. Make the decision today, right now. This is your moment to act. Don't focus on the big picture right now. Focus on the first step. Small, consistent actions are what lead to the massive changes you want. The moment you take that first step, you break the cycle of stagnation. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make the move. Start saying no when necessary. Set that boundary. Walk away from that toxic situation. The small actions you take today are laying the foundation for the big transformation tomorrow. You don't need all the answers. You just need the courage to take that first step. And from there, everything else will fall into place. There's no better time than now. There's no waiting for a sign, no waiting for the right moment. Now is your moment. Right now you can choose peace over chaos. Right now you can take control of your energy and stop letting others drain it. Reclaim your peace of mind by setting boundaries, saying no, and walking away when necessary. The sooner you take action, the sooner you'll experience the freedom that comes from protecting your peace. Don't wait for permission. Take control. Your time is now, and you have the power to make the change. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to empower yourself. No one can fight for your peace, your boundaries, or your energy like you can. No one is coming to save you from the situation you're in. It's all on you. But the good news is, you have everything you need to make it happen. The strength, the courage, the power, it's all inside you. It's time to stop waiting for someone else to step in. Take the reins. This is your life, your power, your choice, and it's time to claim it.